Before we dive into this week's episode of Canotio Convos, we want to provide some important context. This podcast was recorded before the administration rescinded its memo regarding federal funding cuts to school districts. While this decision has been put on hold, Superintendent Dr. Galaviz has chosen to proceed with this episode to further explain Canotio ISD's stance on the critical role federal funding plays in supporting our students, teachers, and programs.
Welcome to another episode of Canotio Convos, the official podcast of Canotio ISD. Today we have with us our fearless leader, Dr. Pedro Galaviz. Shout out.
Why do you always say, why don't you say award-winning?
Award-winning, yes, it is an
That's
award.
twice in a week that I had to remind you of.
We don't like to brag.
Yeah, we do.
Okay, we're humble.
Yeah, we do. We like to brag because
Bragging rights. I
Good
guess
thing.
we earned them, right?
good things happen, and so you got to let people know. I mean, because of social media. Someone talked to me today. It was like, hey, you're on social media. It wasn't good. It was like, what's that? They want to suspend me or something like that.
Oh, that's still circulating?
Yeah, it's still circulating for Los Lobos or something. Now they're using Spanish.
Oh, well, that sounds serious.
I don't know. I have no idea, nor do I care.
Well, you're in the mix.
I'm in the mix.
You're in the mix.
Speaking of the mix, we have Laura. Hi.
Hi.
Hi,
Present.
Laura. Present.
President. Our special guest, Christina Pulley, Executive Director of Finance.
Grandma.
Christina's
Pulley.
today.
Grandma.
Hello.
They call you Grandma or Wanda? What
They
is
call me Mimi.
your
Oh.
Mimi?
I'm Mimi.
And what's Grandpa? Peep?
Papa.
Papa?
Papa.
I almost said something else.
I knew where you were going.
I was. You know, what reminds me of
Thank you for
Mimi.
stopping.
Yeah, what was it? Mimi.
No. Not registering.
I'll tell you after the broadcast.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We'll wait till we're not on
They call
there.
it Papa?
Papa.
Papa. And you're Mimi. Why Mimi?
I don't know. I had to pick a name before the other grandma did.
Oh, what's the other grandma?
She's just grandma.
Grandma?
Maybe it's more special.
Yeah.
Amy?
It sounds like grandma.
She said, I thought it was cute.
Mimi? Who came up with Mimi? You did?
I did. Yeah.
Call me Mimi?
Call me Mimi.
It just felt right.
I know my brother, he was like be called Grandpa, and his grandkids call him Amigo.
Amigo. Oh, that's cute.
That's
I'm
cute.
not your grandpa. I'm your amigo.
That's sweet.
That's sweet.
So what are we talking about?
Today-
C-Rod.
Well, I'm glad you asked because I'm sure we're all aware by now that as of 5 p.m. tonight, the Trump administration is freezing federal aid and funding. And it's leaving a lot of questions more than there are answers. And there's a lot of uncertainty in the air, especially for organizations and people who count on federal funding to just go through life and
Well, I
do their thing.
Like us.
Like us. Yeah. Well, I don't know why everybody's surprised at his methods, because his whole campaign was saying these grand things that he was going to do, and when they would ask him about a plan, he didn't have any. And like when he says, I'm going to cut grants and federal funds and what else, Miss Christie?
Federal awards. And that he's freezing everything, but without knowing the impact of
Yeah.
what's going
He's not saying for 6 months or a year or.
Yeah, we don't know anything at this point.
But why are we surprised at his tactics or his antics or his?
I'm really not surprised. I'm just kind of at this point, like everybody else, like, okay, now what? Like, it's not a
does that mean?
surprise, but like, okay, what do we do next?
So Christy is our executive director of finance, and what does that mean for us for federal money?
We get about $10 million in federal funding. Half of that is for our child nutrition program,
Is that monthly or
and on an annual basis.
on an
So
actual?
annually we get 10 million. 5 million is for
For our child nutrition
feeding
program.
our kids,
Exactly.
for the jobs, for the cafeteria workers and
For the products.
products. Okay.
So how that's going to impact us, we don't know. According to the letter that was put out, they're asking agencies to deobligate funds. So that means even though we received a notice of award, they're going to deobligate these funds and reassess whether we should get them or not.
I'm not a dictionary guy. Mm-hmm. So obligate means I'm going to give you
It's
X
committed.
money. It's
Right.
committed.
Yeah, you're committed.
So they they want us to deobligate, or they're deobligating?
The government will be deobligating funds that they committed to, like the district. We have, for example, in Title I money, we have about $1.5 million that's obligated to us. So we budget for that throughout the year. That includes personnel, intervention programs, different ways to assist our students. And now they're saying they may deobligate that money. So what do we do with the rest of the school year?
So I guess, right, if we have 1.5, and I'm assuming that we've already received half of that, because it's December.
Possibly.
Now we're going January, it'll be February. So we already received, what's half of 1.75? I don't know what that is, the math. But half of whatever, 1.75
I don't
million.
math.
I don't math.
You can make a very brief drawing of the
I'm gonna
half of it.
deobligate now. So they're taking, we already spent half.
Right.
So when do we get the other half of 1.75?
So we work on a reimbursement basis. So we've already spent, for example, salaries for December, and we won't be reimbursed. So we've been recommended by other agencies to issue drawdowns, which is basically pulling down that money of items that we've already spent to submit those today. So that maybe we could be reimbursed for December, because we don't know what's going to happen for January, the items that we've already spent monies on.
So okay, give me the concept of drawing down, because you're like the fourth person that told me drawing down. I have no idea what that means.
I want to paint the picture here.
So they tell us, so initially they say, this is your NOGA. What a NOGA is a notice of award, of a grant award. And this is basically the paper saying, we promise to pay you this money and you can spend it in such a way. So we prepare a budget and we start spending, whether it's to hire additional personnel or programs, supplies, anything that's needed to supplement our education for our students. So we plan for that. We spend the money and then we ask to be reimbursed on a monthly basis.
So we spend the money out of our account, and then we send them our bill,
Correct.
and then they give us. So for January, because this happens today, at 5 o'clock, I'm going to assume that we're going to submit all our bills, what we spent, salaries, programs, our resources, everything, to the government,
To the state.
and then the state is going to charge the federal government
Correct.
like 185 title money.
Correct.
But what happens tomorrow?
So tomorrow it's up in the air. Are they going to stop this program? However, we still have employees.
Yeah, they're on contract. We have
So try to write. We have about 147 employees that are federally funded in our district. So what do we do tomorrow? Our children, we still need to feed our students.
No, we don't.
I think they'd like to eat too.
Well, eat at home.
They do, and they want to eat more.
Eat at home. I mean, bring your own lunch. I mean, we're going back to that, right?
And
We're going back to everybody.
That's an option, yeah.
I mean, you decided to have 4 kids.
That's true.
I didn't say to have
but,
4 kids.
I mean, that's an extra burden added on to parents who already
Hey,
have a list of things.
I
that
didn't tell you to
Yes,
have
if
4
they can afford
kids.
it.
But I mean,
That's
it's going back to that pull your bootstraps up. What was that? The little bushes thing. Pull your bootstraps.
Pull yourself up by the bootstraps.
Yeah. Pull yourself up by the bootstraps.
Yeah.
That's that thing. You decided to have.
No,
4
yeah,
kids.
that's fair.
You get up, you give them breakfast, pack them a lunch, bologna, whatever, send them to school.
But they're right now.
Is that what they're doing? I mean, like, I'm just saying, like, what's going to happen to those 147 employees that are right now that are not being paid? Not being paid, that are not.
They're unsure of how
We're
of their next
unsure.
paycheck.
Exactly. Their jobs are not guaranteed. We certainly cannot absorb them into our general fund. So what do we do from here? It's kind of up in the question.
It's a big unknown right now.
I don't know.
So what are your peeps saying in the finance from the other ISDs? What's their?
Well, they're first, of course, the recommendation was do your drawdowns, get reimbursed for what you can,
Okay.
and hold steady. See what exactly how this is going to impact us.
Because what I heard from Martha Carrasco, our chief HR, that she talked to you, and Marco has enough in his savings account for 4 months, right?
Correct.
To hold us until May. That'd be May. So February, March, April, May. So he has enough to get us through to the end of the year,
Basically, yes.
right? And
That's
then,
helpful.
and then we don't know. But what about other programs that don't have
Right.
funds like
So
Title-
his program is unique in the sense that it does have what we call fund balance, which is savings from year to year. But his is the only program that has that. All other programs, whatever revenue comes in, is
special ed, right?
correct. Special ed,
Because that
IDEA,
got idea,
Title I, Title II,
CTE.
migrant. Yes, Carl Perkins for CTE. All of these grants are
And that includes ACE too, right? The
ACE,
After school.
yes, the after school program.
So I haven't seen anything from the state, like Governor Abbott coming out and saying, hey, this is how it impacts you or where at, and I haven't heard them.
So my understanding is that everybody's supposed to halt spending, evaluate what is critical, what is necessary, and they have to justify it by February 10th. So we won't have answers for probably at least 2 more weeks of the impact.
Wait, let's stop. Okay? Your kids can't come to school tomorrow. Because we got to stop. We got to halt.
Well, that's not going to work.
But that's what they're saying, right? Everybody stop, but you still got bills. Our bills don't stop.
Nothing else stops.
Our electric bills, right? You still gotta, kids still gotta eat. Kids still.
Yes, exactly.
So, so from your perspective as a finance person, besides me saying, "What the heck?" I mean, that's me from a superintendent. Is like, this doesn't even make sense. But from the finance world, I mean, what is?
Right. The implications or the impact on the district's finances could possibly bankrupt the district. We have to continue operations for these federal programs and risk not being reimbursed. Wherein, as you know, we've adopted deficit budgets. So we're already in a financial crisis that we're addressing, and this is going to just add to that. Do we continue to move forward on these federal programs hoping we'll get reimbursed, or do we pause them? Because it could become a financial crisis for our district and for many districts across the state.
Yeah, because most districts did adopt a deficit budget across the state. So February 10th is what day? Tell me what's
My
happening.
understanding is that each agency is supposed to report to the OMB and let them know
Operation
management of budget.
Budget.
to the federal government.
Correct. And let them know which programs are needed and why. And their deadline to submit is on the 10th of February.
So they have 2 weeks to say, tell me why your budget, or why should we fund you?
Right.
Well, we don't do anything, right? We just get. So you're saying there's a risk this from tomorrow on to February 10th is, are we going to get reimbursed for these next 2 weeks,
Correct.
right? So, because we may not.
And
It's a gamble.
That's just a deadline. Then they're gonna like.
It's
And
still
they
going to take time.
still,
after
right?
that.
It'll still take time to get an answer. Yes, we'll fund you, or no, we won't.
Because how many months can we upfront the money? Like Marco has 4 months or 5 months, 4 months? 4 months in reserve, which is great. But how much time do we, title money, sped money, ideas, Perkins, how much can we hold that we can not take from our?
So it just depends. We have our entitlements, which are the monies that we're kind of guaranteed to get for federal funds, but we also have like our ACE program, our Century 21 grant. That one was a competitive grant. So that puts a higher impact or a higher burden on the district to continue to pay on that one because it's something that's out of the ordinary. It's not something we routinely get. It's a once a year. I think it's a 5-year grant, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, that's good.
So it just depends on what do we do. As far as cash flow, right now, of course, property taxes have come in, so cash is there, but it needs to last us till August of this school year. So, we still have to budget for that. And without us, presuming that we'll be reimbursed, we can go maybe a month of these grants, but that's probably all that we could sustain to ensure that we can continue with our basic education.
So we can go from January 29th until February 28th? So March 1st.
Possibly.
But those are school days, business days, or does that include weekends?
Well, it's business days because
Like bank days?
right,
So
it's
bank
pay
days.
days.
So it's a month, 30 bank days, I say bank days, till we can have to start planning.
Right. We really need to start planning prior to that.
So
Because we like I said, we're our own fund balance is critically low. So for us to be able to sustain just our general operating on top of federal grants without being reimbursed.
So I guess would you suggest is the sky falling? Are we all running around?
I feel like it is.
I mean, we can't be, I guess we can't, we're not the only district in the country that's going through this, that has, I think of much, that are receiving federal money for their food, cafeteria, title, sped, Perkins.
Right. So you put out this blank statement out there with no direction, no
President Trump.
exactly. You put out this blank statement. We're removing. Who is this for? Is this for just federal assistance for individuals? Is this is this all entities? Is this government entities? Is without any detail. So yes, for everybody, how does that impact you? We don't know.
Everybody's impacted. What about financial aid for college students?
Exactly.
So college students are really scared right now.
My son already he's in his last year. His check's already in his bank. So because my wife sent something about, it leaves law students. And
Hold on, but can they take it back? Can they
they can once it's in his bank.
I don't know, can they?
no vaccines?
No back.
No give backs, no give back. No, but I guess I don't hear the uproar. I don't hear the, what's that? Students' lives matter.
You have to wait till 5:01 tonight.
501. I don't hear.
And I think it's taken a while for it to sink in. Wait, this could impact us.
I don't think people know that it's gonna affect them.
They don't know the impact yet.
They probably don't know that. That's
you have-
where food services.
Yeah, a bunch of them
come from.
in at the Capitol right now with Tessa, with Midwinter, right? Going through their sessions, and it's like, dude, you should be at the Capitol protesting or saying, Amber, what's your answer? Because everyone, over 60% of Americans voted for this guy.
Well, yeah, but then now it's surprise, surprise. And then everybody's like, what do we do now? I think people are just kind of processing right now.
But like I said, why are people surprised as his antics? He has a plan, and there's no assurances.
It's all an ultimatum.
Yeah, because that's why it scares me, because if he takes away the SNAP program, right? And then, why would he want to feed free with his kids? Why would he want to feed kids? That goes back to that mentality of, hey, you decided to have 4, whatever kids, and now you got to raise him or her, so I don't know. And I don't hear, my phone isn't blasting, representatives aren't calling,
Well, when I heard it first, I'm like, no, they can't do that. We have a NOGA. We have an obligation. We have vaccines. Yeah, you can't take that back.
Vaccines, remember?
Like I would assume we would have some kind of legal
Precedent and
present
standing.
to keep this money because they obligated it to us. But according to that letter that was put out a couple hours ago, it says de-obligate funds.
Yeah.
We should share that letter.
States are suing.
Do I have that letter?
Yes, Ms. Carrasco just sent it out.
Oh, she did? Yeah.
States are suing at this point. Like states are suing against him trying to freeze the federal money. But
Yeah, but
see
it
what
takes
goes.
time. And,
Yeah, it takes a lot of time.
And the more you challenge this guy, the more he's
he stands.
the more he stands his ground, and he's an egotistical whatever. But that's his nature of him.
And that's how he rolls.
He does. You're gonna challenge him, and he's gonna talk whatever the way he talks. But again, he's the commander in chief, and that's who people voted. I just want to know what do we need to prepare for? Who do we? Because you're talking about people's livelihood. Because if I'm like one of those 147 federally funded employees, I don't even hear from them. What does that mean for me?
They're
How
shocked
can
right now.
you know if you're federally funded?
Well, child nutrition would be one, and depending on our library aides are federally funded. Our parent liaisons are federally funded. And you do typically know because you do sign a job description saying that your position is subject to funding.
Yeah.
So that is part of the stipulation when you accept a position that's federally funded, which we call like soft money. You sign that when you're hired.
Yeah. There's always that risk, right? But I don't think anybody expected it to happen from one day to the next.
Right.
Yeah, it's like this. It's like, boom, 5 o'clock.
A warning.
5 o'clock.
A warning there.
Yeah, it's like, but anyways, like anything, we went through COVID as a country and as a community, and we'll get through this. And again, I promise for myself to be honest of those 147 and what does it mean for the district? Because you're right, we can't absorb that personnel into our general fund. It's just too much money. We're already at 3.5 deficit. So, again, we'll work together. As soon as we get information, we'll get it out to you, and then we'll post that letter online so you all can read what we're reading. And again, we'll work through this together as a country. We have resolve and the American way. I mean, it's not the first president that has, in our history of our country, that's done some crazy stuff or stuff that no one understands. But again, people voted for him and trusted him, and we got to hope he does have a plan.
I mean, I feel like it's just particularly sad for school districts in particular because most of the districts are already going through a deficit, and there's already been drastic cuts and reductions, and now it's like you're asking to do even more than that. Like, what's going to be left?
Yeah. Well, not only that, but it's also, you said that it presents that, what's that unknown. And when it's unknown, you get chaos. You get people running around, and the sky is falling. Is it falling? I don't know. It may be falling. It feels like it, right? Because I'm like, kind of like, okay, what do we do? And but I don't. My phone isn't like ringing off the hook. I don't see people at TASA, and some of them, like people that are there, like, hey. Oh, heck no. Let's go to the Capitol. Let's go talk to the governor. Let's I'm not inciting anything, but let's go there and talk. And
We'll get pardons later.
yeah, we'll get pardoned
later.
Yeah, we'll get pardoned later. That didn't happen. It was a peaceful protest. But but again, you need that civil discourse, that civil disobedience, because again, as a president and any elected official, you're there to have answers, and we're looking for you. And that's Representative Moody, Congresswoman Escobar, Senator Blanco. Get off your tail and do something.
Right.
You know, this is when, you know, this is when people are tested during times like this. Are you a leader, or are you just an elected official?
Yep. Well, we'll
That's it.
see what happens.
Do you want to talk about another elected official?
Oh, Gustavo.
Your boy.
Yeah, we saw him on TV.
We did. We did.
Yeah, congratulations, Gustavo, State Board of Education. Hopefully he's not banning books right now.
I'm sure they're talking about this right
You
now.
think so? They're talking about
Oh, once they're done with their agenda, they're probably just gonna go to the hallway and panic.
and yeah, because a lot of their books are federally funded. And what does that mean? But yeah, don't ban books, Gustavo. I like what's something like Pinocchio and
Sure.
Dr. Seuss is on the loose.
I'm sure somebody could find something wrong with it, though.
Right? They better not ban Dr. Seuss.
They said it was racist, and that's why they rebranded it.
I thought they did cancel Dr. Seuss at one point.
They
Actually,
did?
we're not even wrong. They did. Yeah.
Get over it. Get over it. So Mimi with Andel.
Angel.
Andrel. Andrel. That's her baby's name.
Aw.
Andrel.
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 So, yeah, it's like Pedro.
Yeah.
Similar. It means conqueror. Means king.
It does.
Thank you, Christy, for being on and giving us some insight. We'll post that. Laura, C-Rod, and Gustavo, wish you the best. Be safe in Austin. And we have a board meeting tomorrow.
Will be posted on Friday, so hopefully we have more answers by then.
Yes.
Maybe.
Posting.
Yeah, and then we'll just, again, we'll march on. We'll work together. All right. Peace out. Love
Till
you all.
next time. Bye.
Stay blessed.